If it were in your power, describe the bill you would sponsor or at least vote for, excuse me, to deal with illegal immigration in this country.
First of all, I want to thank the Executive Club for allowing us to be here, and thank you, Don, especially. As it relates to illegal immigration, my first notion is never to say what bill can I create, but rather what laws should I be enforcing. And I think that's the problem with illegal immigration. We all know in this room, they've already created legislation. We just don't have political leaders who have the courage and the will to enforce those laws. So I am not one to say, let's stack up more regulation and more ideas. Rather, let's just abide by the principles that we've already agreed to. That's being a responsible legislator. I would also say that here in this particular state, and in our district, District 1, and I recognize not all of you live in District 1, but in District 1 especially, I'm excited to take on this particular challenge because I think that in addition to shoring up the borders, we could be utilizing the technology and the talent and the advancements we have right there in District 1 through the high-tech sector that we claim. We could come up with solutions to enforce those borders, to tighten them up. And right now we're not using technology properly as a country, and it's shameful to me that with all the money the government has spent in the last 15 to 16 months, that very, very little of that has been dedicated to the borders. It's been dedicated to other things which we all, I think, would agree are basically returning favors to special interests and avoiding this very, very difficult time.
Do you believe that there is global warming, or do you think human activity has a significant effect on global temperatures? And if you do you support cap and trade?
I think the climate is always changing. All we have to do is look back through the history books and the science books to realize this. There is absolutely no science that can be proven that suggests that we through our activities advance climate change. I think it's an arrogant position. At the same time, as an Oregonian, as one who with my Boy Scouts, because I'm a Boy Scout leader and my kids are Boy Scouts, I have 3 sons, 2 of them are Eagle Scouts and 1 is close to being an Eagle Scout, I can assure you that I preach to them all the time conservation. Always leave it better than you found it. No trace left behind, as we say in scouting. One other thing I'd say about cap and trade, of course I'm opposed to cap and trade. It's a bad bill because it would cripple our economy under the guise of protecting the environment. It's lazy legislation, and I would adamantly fight against it. I'm so glad the House version is now going down.
Recently, the health care bill was signed into law, and the question is, do you support that? If not, what would you do to change it?
If you see that coffee mug or container on each of your tables right now, and you were to stack the healthcare law next to it, the total number of pages of the healthcare law would be taller than that coffee mug. That coffee, what is it, canteen, whatever you call it. That to me is shameful. I'm opposed to the health care law as it's currently constituted. I think John and I agree that this is not good for America. I was just today visiting with a doctor, actually, a very prominent physician in our state, because I was asking questions about this very issue. And he described to me how it is vastly changing his practice already. We're turning Medicare into the new Medicaid, because we have doctors now who are not being reimbursed, and they're fearful that this new law is going to further cripple their practice, and we're going to see more people from Medicare going on to Medicaid. I also would say regarding health care legislation, I'm not going to talk about something that I think is populist in nature, but is unrealistic in 2011 when I'm sitting in Congress, and that's repeal. I will talk about something that I can do, and that is I can reform and replace. And healthcare reform is not over. There's so much more to do on it.
If it falls to you, describe a measure you would support to secure America's energy future.
I think that's my question. Well, first of all, I love to report to people, especially in District 1, that Republicans are the party of yes when it comes to energy exploration. We are not the party of no. The other side is. Because as far as I'm concerned, all forms of energy should be on the table. We should look not only at wind, solar, like the other side likes to talk about a lot in this state. We should also talk about nuclear. We should talk about continuing to drill responsibly. We should talk about geothermal. We should talk about wave, and the list goes on. So as it relates to a particular bill, what I would suggest instead is free up industry to do what they do best. Do not constrain us with politicized science. And that's what we are encumbered with right now. We have people who have special interests, who are loud, and who are the minority, I might add, but because of their power and because they've got politicians where they want them, they're controlling this agenda. But this recent oil spill demonstrates we need to be diversified in our energy, and I might add, I think it's a travesty that David Wu did not support LNG, whether it be Bradwood Landing or any other project, because that meant jobs to Oregon. Shame on David Wu. He was not a champion for Oregon.